Hey everyone, this is Karen Waksman, founder of Retail MBA, and I'm so excited to have Jason Fladlien on the call. Hi, Jason.
What's going on?
Jason is epic. I love Jason. Actually, you've done a lot of things over the years, but what you're really, really well known for as an internet marketer is just that you're just really good at selling stuff online. It's particularly in webinars. I met him through, I did an event with a company called Amazing.com. A lot of you guys know Amazing because they sell courses on selling on Amazon and so forth. And it was a period where you were doing a lot of stuff with Amazon sellers, right, Jason?
Still do.
Still do. So basically, I met him through the event I was speaking at. He was doing an event. And so basically, I got a taste of how Jason just has an ability to articulate things in a way that gets everybody to be interested in whatever it is that he's talking about. I mean, I'm not kidding you. He was making grown men run to the back of the stage to even buy my stuff. And I had been doing it for years. Like, I was always fascinated with how he articulates things in such a way and pieces things together in such a way to just create success for everybody. And everything he does is really about a win-win for everybody. I know that he always is about high value, and he's really, really well known in the internet marketing space. And so I asked Jason to come here, and I'm gonna have you make your intro as to kind of what you do. But I asked him to come here to talk about making offers to people without having to change anything or start something over from whatever it is that you're trying to sell, and making it so enticing for people that they actually are interested in purchasing from you, which is something that people struggle with all of the time. But I'm telling you, if you've ever seen or dealt with anything to do with Jason Fladlien, you would know that he's kind of probably the best in class when it comes to that. So Jason, you want to talk about who you are, why you know what you're talking about, and then we'll get into some questions and interviewing and just having a conversation.
Yeah, I am first and foremost probably best known for my webinars. They say I'm the best, so I just tend to agree. When a lot of smart people say that I'm the best, I go, okay, that's fine with me. I do enjoy selling. It's probably my favorite thing to do in business. It's certainly not the only thing that I do in business, but I have worked in many industries, business to business, business to consumer. We've sold software, we've sold digital products, we sold physical products, we sold on Amazon, we sold off of Amazon. We sold we sold the very first ever approved Shopify program on the e-commerce side. Basically, I just like to put my hands in the places where I pull them out and bunches of money come with me. So that's what I'm most interested in. And in the context of what we're going to talk about today is I want to delve into a really misunderstood concept in business related to consumer psychology and offers, and specifically some of the finer points of why people buy things that it seems like a lot of really good business people somehow don't see or don't understand or don't tap into. And that breaks my heart because they often put too much emphasis on the wrong things. And then I see a lot of good products go to the wayside and die a miserable, horrible death because it's not good enough just to have a really great product. In fact, oftentimes a really great product is a hindrance to success early on in this business. So those are some of the things that we might talk about. My big bumper sticker in terms of who I am, over $100 million in sales via just webinars alone. We are on Zoom right now. That's the platform that Karen and I are using. I'm the only marketer that Zoom has actually brought in to train their webinar users on how to do webinars. That was right before they went public, and they were worth $22 billion overnight. Now they're worth something like $65 billion or $100 billion. I don't know. It's a lot. And pretty much, if you ask anybody in the industry who to study internet marketing from, my name is on that short list more often than not. So I've been around the block. I've been here for quite a while, and somehow or another, I keep staying relevant.
He is great. And again, I had first experience with this when he literally
I pitched your product.
You pitched my product from the stage, and it was, I typically sell my own stuff because I really believe in what I do. And he would be the only person that I actually allowed to do that for me. You know, I'm not even egoic. I literally just, it was like, okay, I've seen you do what you do. I'll just see what you come up with, you know? And it was the most fascinating experience I've ever had, because it was, people would come up to me afterwards and they would say, I've seen you speak before, but you finally said the thing that got me to understand that I absolutely needed to purchase it. And I'm like, really? Really? After all these years and all of my doing, this guy somehow clicked in your head. And so ever since then, we run into each other. We're part of Genius Network and different groups together, or, just being around in this internet marketing space. And so anyways, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Let's go.
All right, let's go. So how do you want to do this? Let's talk about, you want to pick a product, or what would you say would be the way to get started? Like, somebody's launching a product.
Yeah.
What do they do? Like, how do they get people to kind of rush to buy their product? What would you do? How do you get that moving?
Yeah, so I'm going to start really basic, and I don't want anybody to miss the basics, because I wouldn't start with basics if I don't see them fundamentally being violated on a daily basis. So short story time. Recently, I made this offer on another product that I was promoting. He's actually going to be in this interview series. We mentioned him when you and I were talking right before we started this with Pedro, right? Pedro's my boy. I did some consulting for him right when he got started, and now, like, my little boy's all grown up. And I promoted his product, and as a bonus to his product, I said, if anybody's able to actually achieve this result in this amount of time, I will get on and I will do a consultation with you. Half an hour consultation. And normally I charge $3,125 for an hour, because 8 of those is a day, and that's $25,000. That's my rate. And I sell them. A lot of marketers will say that that's their rate, and then you say, well, show me an invoice of a client, and they're like, oh yeah, what you say you charge and what you actually charge, 2 different things. Anyway, I'm doing these training calls, and these are some really successful people that I'm talking to, because I entice them to be successful by giving them that carrot to aim for. So there's a lot of psychology there as well. But I'm getting on the call with them, and we're looking at their challenges and their framework and how they're positioning and communicating. And I see this over and over and over again, and it's a feature focus, not a benefit focus. And more importantly, not an outcome focus. So if we think about it, feature, benefit, outcome. So few people get to the outcome at all in their marketing or their communication. And if they work backwards, though, it should start with the outcome and then go back to benefit and then feature. You need them all. But let me give you a good example from a consumer brand package standpoint, because I know that's where a lot of your audience is in CPGs, right? And so Dave Asprey is a friend of mine. He's the founder of Bulletproof Coffee. And if you just look at how he names his products, that's a good indication. So he sells MCT oil, which everybody seems to sell these days. But he doesn't call it MCT oil. He calls it brain octane oil, right? It's just a better name. Now, technically that is still a feature, but in a land where everybody's calling it MCT oil, at least there's an implied benefit. Brain octane, you're going to be firing off, right? His coffee is bulletproof coffee, not just any coffee. It's so good. If you drink it, Karen could take a gun, start shooting me, and it would bounce right off, right? It's bulletproof coffee. And he's got fat water. It's not just regular water, it's fat water, because a lot of people understand that there are good fats out there and this and that. And then you just go on and on and on, and you start looking at if there's any really good CPG that understands and knows how to name. It stands for consumer packaged goods, by the way. Some people don't know that. If they know how to position and name products, they got it. Their company has it. They really understand that concept. But if we're looking at in other aspects, like let's take the digital world. So if somebody says, like, I had a client the other day that was teaching people how to create videos, video creation challenge. This is essentially what they ran. And I'm like, who are we talking about first? People that are just starting out who haven't created a video, or people that are creating videos who want to do it better, faster, smarter, quicker, more effectively, et cetera, et cetera. So right away, the problem with the name and the positioning of the product, it didn't call out the right audience. It kind of was in between the two. You didn't know that at a glance, right? But furthermore, I said to them, well, specifically, what's the outcome? What's the purpose of them creating videos for? Well, it turns out with a little bit of discovery is that they actually help financial brands, corporate financial brands, do online lead generation more effectively using video. And in COVID, post-COVID-19, where everything was offline, now shifting online, the real thing is you got to do something to survive in this transition. And you need the lead generation to replace your old lead generation, and video is the best one in order to do that. That was their premise, right? But the name, the position didn't scream that out immediately. It didn't have that all over its DNA in terms of its invitation to interact. And that's a problem. And I've been seeing this very intimately up front recently, where even people that should know better, even I do this all the time. And then I have to refactor it when I'm analyzing a campaign that doesn't work, is, are we going after benefits or not? All right. Now let's go further, because that seems simple. So the first thing is just to check it. Hey, is it obvious at a glance that what I have has a solution, an outcome, or something for somebody else? That's a good starting point. But even better is,
sorry. So
what's that?
I didn't cut you off, but could you use a few examples of products, like how you could use that just as we're going along, types of products, maybe consumer.
Yeah. So give me a hypothetical product and I will walk you through the process.
All right. A customer of mine has the headphones that you can sleep in. Why?
Okay. Headphones that you can sleep in. So immediately, what would be the benefit of wearing headphones that you can sleep in? Why would you need to sleep in headphones at all?
For people who have trouble sleeping, right?
Okay. So it helps you sleep better at night.
Yes.
Okay. So immediately, I bet you if you analyzed and looked at the competition and even this customer, it wouldn't be clear at a glance that that's what that would do. I would bet $1 to a dime that it's like, oh, these headphones are more comfortable to wear while you fall asleep. They fit your head better. Blah. They sync to your Bluetooth. Yada yada yada. And they're missing the biggest appeal. Help you sleep better at night. Get a sounder sleep, right? And which is interesting. A sound sleep. Sound, audio, sleep. Yeah, it might be something there, right?
I'll tell her to watch this because she'll.
Yeah, tell her to listen to it too, not just watch it. I'm messing with you a little bit because
Yeah, I got it.
For my own personal fun, but that's where we would start. So we would want something obvious at a glance about that. But even sleeping better at night is it's a very basic benefit. So we would want to explore that more. What does better sleep look like? What does it feel like? What is something that somebody would know they had a better night's sleep? How would they recognize that, right? They would wake up feeling more refreshed. They would have more energy. They would be more alert. What's the side effects of lack of sleep and the continuation of that over a period of time? And then you really get a full picture of it. You could throw all that away after you do this deep dive and then just sit down and write your copy or position your packaging or whatever. And you have it inside you. You're more in tune to what matters. And so therefore you're more likely to be successful. Now, ideally we are deliberate with it and we could aim it and we can position it and be specific about it. But again, if you look at it, most people that are going to sell headphones that are made to help you fall asleep, they're probably going to spend more time on the design of the headphone and the look and feel of the headphone and other technical features. And that misses the larger point. So even if it's just like, sleep better headphones, and I know that sounds basic, that's probably going to work better than what most people would come up for headphones, because that is a direct benefit.
Sound, sleep better headphones. I like it.
Yeah. Sound, sleep better headphones. Really simple. Right now, if we're selling it on Amazon, we also want to consider customer search terms. So we might even name it or add things to it that would pick up the search if we're selling on Amazon. But it's a different conversation.
Fair enough. I just wanted to throw out some examples of people and like what you could do.
Yeah, we can do another one real quick if you want.
I'm trying to think of names of customers. I mean, I knew Sleep Phones just because I knew her name, but
is that the name of her product, those Sleep Phones?
It's called Sleep Phones, yeah.
Okay, good. So like better sleep phones would be better ideally, right? Or Sleep Phones tagline, get a better sleep, or sleep soft and sound or something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have clients who have supplement products, a lot of supplement products these days, right? For people, for various sort of things. And the one thing that I always talk about is focus on what is it resolving, not that it actually has, what the ingredient is that's in the actual product. Correct.
Yeah. And I'll give you a little clue too, that a lot of people that really helps them with is because I had a client come to me and she was like, I want to help people with their business mindset, Jason. And I'm like, good luck. The problem with that is it's what we call an intangible outcome. How do we measure an improvement of mindset? It's very hard to do. Is it needed? Absolutely. Is it critical? You betcha. But unfortunately, it's hard to quantify. It's hard to wrap your head around. It's fuzzy, and therefore it's less effective in marketing. So I gave her an example instead of how to figure this out. I said, imagine your customer, your ideal customer, laying awake at night because they can't sleep because they're so stressed out about this problem. And they won't admit it to anybody else. They barely will even admit it to themselves. But finally at 3 a.m., bloodshot eyes, staring at the ceiling, all frustrated, what are they whispering to themselves that they desperately wish they could get relief from? That is the clue to what you should be selling them or talking to them or engaging them with. That is the thing. And nobody's nobody's sitting up and saying, damn, I just need a better mindset, right? They're not doing that. And this was related to business customers. Instead, they're saying, oh God, I need to fill up the pipeline for lead generation. They're saying things like, if I don't get my sales people leads, we're going to go out of business. Or if I don't get traffic to my website, I don't know how I'm going to sell product. Or they're going to say, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to keep inventory in stock. They're saying things like that. And that gives you much more of a clue. They are often mundane, very base level, in a sense, boring because they're not very sophisticated benefits. And so people tend to discount that. Now, advanced marketing says we have to position our stuff to be unique because new is equal to better in the consumer's mind more often than not. And new is exciting, it's fun, it's fresh. So we try to position it in a way to where it seems both timeless and also up to the minute. But we can't get there unless we start with this basic fundamental. Let's solve a very, very pressing problem, or address it at least, that somebody is having a lot of trouble with.
I feel like there would be some clients of mine who private label, how it is with Amazon sellers. Sometimes they private label products and they're probably breaking their head right now trying to figure out what is my angle? I know some clients who this guy has a gas stove top that he created some better version of an existing one. It's how do you make that interesting? How do you get someone to?
Well, it's a great question, right?
Yeah. So
sometimes the differentiation doesn't have to come in the core product, although for most people, that's where I'd start. Sometimes it's what you wrap around the product that can make the difference. So let's take a look at Tom's shoes. You're familiar with Tom's shoes?
Yeah, actually, I was just interviewed Yannick Silver, and he was just talking about Tom's shoes. That's funny.
Well, there you go, right? And if I had to guess why, knowing Yannick, by the way, of why he would be talking about something like Tom's shoes, my guess would be because they have some sort of social component, some charitable aspect, some giving back, right? Whatever, I'm not a huge fan of mixing social and capitalism together and whatever, but whatever. If it gets you going, it gets you going, right? If it increases my
two different humans, the two of you.
Yeah, we definitely are, which is great because if we're the same, then one of us would be superfluous, would be irrelevant. But the thing is I'm for increasing conversion and making more money. And in certain industries, adding a charitable component could be the most prudent thing you could do to increase your conversion, because how do you make shoes new and unique? I mean, you could put a little pump thing in it and jump higher, maybe like Reebok did once upon a time back in the day. That's very hard to come up with those ideas. Or you can change how somebody interacts with your brand and how they feel emotionally when they interact with your brand. And so Tom's Shoes does that, where you buy a pair, donate a pair, or something like that. I've seen an eyeglasses company, I can't remember, but every time you buy a pair of glasses, an angel gets its wings,
or whatever,
something like that, right? Yeah. And so you can dress it up in that way. I like the example of Sports Illustrated. I have two good examples of Sports Illustrated. One is, it's always a magazine that has articles in it. It's like, whoop-de-doo, right? It's sports. Wow, shocker. And next month it's going to be sports again. And so they said, oh, I know what our customer base would like. Women that are barely dressed, that are dripping in water in a bikini. Okay, so then that swimsuit issue was born. Most successful issue of Sports Illustrated has nothing to do with sports. Not really. I mean, we could argue it's possibly, and we could put famous sports people in bikinis, right? But it's a more base level appeal to that audience. And then the one I told you before is sometimes you add a premium to your offer. A limited time premium is the best of all because now it's scarce. And what is scarce is typically more valuable, more precious. And they added the football clock to their Sports Illustrated. And so I see this in consumer packaged goods. I see this in digital products. I've seen this in newsletters. I've seen this with software. I've seen this all across the board. Is sometimes it's not what is in the product that you change. Sometimes it's what you change that comes with the product, or that's wrapped around the product, or that's that calls out to a new audience to bring them into the product. So you look at, to continue the sports thing in the NFL, one of the smartest things that somebody ever did, the Susie Corman Foundation did, was they somehow mixed sports with breast cancer awareness. And now they have all these tough, burly, masculine men wearing pink while they beat each other's brains out on a football field, right? And part of that core demographic, part of the way that that worked is they're like, how do we increase viewership for NFL games? Well, we got to get women involved. Well, how do we get women involved? There you go. It's a win-win situation because the Susie Corman Foundation raises more money for whatever the heck that they do. And then the NFL gets more viewerships, and now everybody feels good as a part of that situation. And again, they didn't change any rule of the game of football. They just put people in pink some of the time. So oftentimes you can do that. With products, sometimes you theme it out based around even events of what's going on at certain times of the year. Like Starbucks has their Christmas thing, right? With their Christmas cup. And then all of a sudden, depending on where PC culture is at any point in time, that can be controversial, which congratulations, is going to make you even more money, you know? But tapping in and creating limited editions, creating certain designs. You know, I was watching a record launch that happened recently because I like to study the Billboard charts. And there's this rapper named Logic who is doing his final album. And these days they break down number of physical sales versus streaming sales. And most people, it's a ton of streaming, very little physical, right? And Logic had a tremendous amount of physical. It was absurd how much physical he had. And what happened was he bundled things together with it, merchandise. So not only did he increase the ticket of his sale for his diehard fans, he sold like 700,000 copies, which is insane in today's age. And people were like, oh, he cheated the system. He hacked it. It doesn't really count. They're not real fans. They're not buying because of his album, right? They're buying because of his merch. And I was like, congratulations. That's intelligent. Who cares why they're buying? And the money's still green. It's still cash is the same. Taylor Swift just launched her new album recently. And I swear they had 8 different versions of the same album with 8 different styles, flavors, covers. And she didn't get 8 new customers necessarily. She got 1 customer to buy from her 8 times in certain instances, right? And so I think if we are less focused on the product, on what we sell, like we and I make this mistake as much as everybody else. This is my baby. This is my precious. I made this. This is what I'm selling you is the product. Well, no, that's not true. What we are selling somebody is an exchange that should be to their advantage. That's what we're selling them. And so a product is a part of that. But if they can feel like, oh my God, I'm getting all this and I only have to give up this small amount of money in order to get it, it doesn't really matter what you sell. You know, as long as you can understand the benefits that the customer is seeking and find intelligent ways and ideally cost-effective ways. So it costs you little, but it adds a tremendous amount of perceived value to your product. That's where you're really cooking with gas.
I love it. Okay, I'm thinking of other clients and their types of products, and we're just going to throw stuff out and let's just see.
Yeah, I like doing this unprepared because this really shows you something.
I'm totally unprepared too. I didn't even know we were gonna I knew we were gonna do something cool. Okay, Swamis. Do you know who that guy is? He has the blue light glasses.
Interesting. I know what a Swami is, which is a holy person in India, but Swami,
holy
plural.
I wouldn't call him no, he's a guy who sells sunglasses or special glasses, blue light.
Yeah, like blue blocker.
Marketers where you're basically
like the old Joe Sugarman blue blocker sunglasses, right? Where you
exactly. I mean, he wanted to get into retail. We got him to I think it was like 550 Sleep Number stores. So he was going that route. You know what I mean?
Smart. That's target marketing. You didn't change the product. You changed who the product was pointed at, because people that don't filter out blue lights typically disrupt their circadian rhythm and then they don't sleep as well at night. So that's a brilliant example of what I'm talking about. We didn't change the product. We changed the messaging that went around the product. But let's go further with it, because why not, right? So what was on your mind with it? Did you want me to see if we could dress it up more?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I'm just going to throw out different names and I'm just going to make you work.
Okay. So, and this is really interesting. Full disclosure, I actually had a conversation with Joe Sugarman because he is probably the most successful seller of, he literally calls them blue blocker, of this type of glasses that has ever existed. Millions and millions and millions of pairs he sold. And they were kind of like, how do we revive this brand? And they're on Amazon and there's all this competition. So we had a conversation a year or two, maybe 3 years ago. I can't remember when. But like Joe got really big because he ran this infomercial, and he had this guy. He was down in like some part of LA. I think it was on Venice Beach or Santa Monica Boulevard or something. And there was this dude that would sit there and rap. You can watch this on YouTube. And this rapping dude just started rapping about blue blockers because Joe asked him to, and then they put that in the commercial, and that sold it like crazy. They made it fun to interact with them when it came to purchasing from them. So some of the times people would buy it just because they felt so good about the experience of consuming the advertising that they reciprocated that feeling with a purchase. I know that sounds absurd, but there's billions of dollars being made for that very thing. Like when people drink alcohol, like they see these commercials, nobody actually believes that opening a beer can will naturally manifest bikini-clad babes in a volleyball court and everybody's playing and having a good time on the beach, right? Nobody believes that. Nobody's like, false advertising, I want my money back. I opened this beer and all I got was a beer belly to show for it, right? But they associate the feeling of positivity and excitement in that moment with the product, and there you go. There's branding. That was one of the greatest innovations in marketing that we've seen in current times. Very hard to do, okay? What Joe Sugarman did was very hard to do. He was a direct response marketer, one of the best in his heyday, who recognized when he had that, and it came to him, and then he leveraged it, and he doubled down on it. But here's the problem with these types of products. When they are commodity-like, whether they are commodity or not is not the argument. If they feel or seem like they're commodity-based products, meaning that we could take his and 15 other people that are like him, put them on a shelf and ask people to pick one or the other, and they wouldn't really know the difference. They're interchangeable, commodity. There's a perception in that market that that's the case, right? One of the best, the most effective ways that you differentiate in that situation is through information. So information in advance. So everybody is going to do this. This is how everybody wants to do business. Buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, right? And that's nice. If it works and that's the best way to make money, do it. Because it's the simplest. It's the straightest line from point A to point B. It's the shortest distance. So it seems like it would make sense to do that, right? But the problem with that is if you're walking, I want you to picture yourself like in a bazaar somewhere in like, the Middle East, and you're going down one day to the marketplace, and every one of these hawksters is saying, buy my stuff, because that's how it is down there. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those places before, have you?
Yeah, of course I've been.
You're like, yeah, of course. I'm a world traveler, Jason.
Really, they have, in Israel, they have like places everywhere,
Yeah. I was in Bali once, and this little girl followed me around trying to get me to buy these postcards. And that's all she did all day was sell postcards for people. And her big appeal was guilt, right? Which is, it's something. It's not the ideal way to sell. But those places are all like, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And the problem with that is the consumer gets very tired of that type of interaction very quickly.